Welcome to the Walaway, everybody. This is Imran and I'm here with my co-host, Coach Dee, and a very special guest, a friend, a brother, a Texas local like myself, Mr. Mustafa Horton, former point guard at Radford University and the University of North Florida. Mustafa, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
My pleasure to have a basketball enthusiast and former hooper on. So my pleasure, brother. Let's give everybody about 20 or 30 seconds so they can get the alert to join. And in the
Okay.
meantime, it gives me time to share this with my group as well.
Okay.
All right, let's begin. Coach D, can you hear us? We don't see you on the screen. Coach D, can't hear you. All right, let's remove him from the screen for now until he can get back on. So Mustafa,
Okay.
obviously, we had a couple conversations in the last couple of days. So many
Yeah.
different things we want to discuss. Obviously, as a former point guard, obviously want to pick your brain a little bit about. We can go into the whole all-time best point guard discussion a little later. But
Okay.
one thing that you brought up the other day, and I guess we can kick it off from there before we go into your story, is, and we can transition that into your story, is now. So you went to high school in the 80s, I believe, or early 90s, and that's when you were in college too, in about the early 90s. What's
Yeah.
changed? One of the things that's changed from the early 90s till now is that players have their own brands. Players have a huge following on social media. Players can kind of dictate what happens to them, sometimes even as early as middle school, right? So
True.
one thing you were talking about last week when you sent me that message, you said that these guys can actually straight out of high school go overseas. There was something you sent me like a league. The league was paying
I
what
s-
100.
yeah, I sent you. I just saw this online. It's overtime. Overtime is this,
Hmm.
team focus,
Yes.
network where they stream, things over Twitter, Instagram, I think even Facebook, and they just have such a huge following. And they were talking about starting a league in the fall for ages 16 to 18. And I was
Mhm.
like, wow, man, that is just crazy because
Hmm.
now someone who definitely feels that, I can do this as a profession, they'll lose their amateur status, and they'll just
Hmm.
finish up high school and then they can start playing and getting paid. And they're talking about paying these guys up to $100,000.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
So, when you look at, I mean, I graduated in 90. AAU ball was kind of just going and, that sort of thing. And I mean, to get recognition, you were looking in the paper, there was different magazines, there
Hmm.
was different, people that were hyping up players in different regions and everything. But right now, someone can make a mixtape for themselves, throw it online, and they can get a following of not only other teens, but then they can get recognized by different coaches and things of this nature. You know what I mean? So it's just the social media, aspect of it, and people like developing their brands and everything. It's definitely, just taking it to another level.
Coach, what do you got to say about that? You
He's
were
he's
nodding your
abs-
head yes a lot.
yes, because he's absolutely right. And what I think is going to happen is, and I have this thing with these players who think they want to get paid at those ages. I say I'm tired of looking at 7 foot security guards. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
for real.
Because
Yeah, yeah.
because get your education. I don't care what they're paying you. Get your education because you're going to go in one of these leagues. And I'm not trying to look. I don't wish bad on no one. But
Right.
like you have to have something to fall back on. And if you get your education, no matter what happens with basketball, you can always fall back on your brain.
Definitely.
Always.
Definitely.
Always fall back on a trade. My mother always taught me that. Have a trade, have something to offer. You know, yes, basketball, but and I always tell a lot of players too. I can coach till I'm 75 years old, but you can't play
Mm.
till you're 75.
Mm.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's where the education piece, and I think that it's detrimental to these. Even though, again, are we going to sit here and tell a 17-year-old kid whose mom is poverty stricken and there's 7 boys and girls in the house when he can go provide? No, he's not going to go to school. But I think this is what I think. Imran, you and I talked about this before. I think you can do that. Let them go, get the money, but put a stipulation in their contract where they have to go back to school and get their education.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it by a certain time, everyone's driven by money, right? So if you don't get it by a certain time, this amount is less from your contract. If you don't get it from this amount, and I guarantee you they'll get it, but you have to give them, instead of incentives on 10 rebounds, give them incentives. Give them incentives on how to educate yourself, and that's because we're not going to stop them from paying them, but they still should all go. Everyone else forget school. When I was coming up, they said having an education allows someone, an employer, to know that you're able to learn.
Yeah.
Do you really need that piece of paper to tell someone you're able to learn? You guys, Imran, tell me your answer to that.
No, I mean, we talked about this last time. It's been a hot minute since we talked about it. I don't know, it's been maybe almost a year, but
right,
the value of higher education has changed, right? And the cost of education has gone up while the quality of higher education has not really gone up. And, I think when Mustafa, you came out in 1990, I'm sure at your time frame, you heard, if you go to college, you get your bachelor's degree, wow, amazing, right? And at my time, we heard the same thing as kids. But by the time we got to college, it wasn't a bachelor's; it was a master's became the standard, right?
Yeah.
And then for some, it's the PhD. So, but then if you get a PhD or a graduate degree, maybe you're $50,000 to $200,000 in debt, and then you're trying to get married and you're trying to start a family and you're trying to buy a house, or maybe you're in more debt and you got to get cars. So I think that's why this argument is very sensitive. It's a really great argument and discussion to have. But when you offer someone who is poverty stricken or comes from a single parent household, and you say you can make 100 stacks, right, by doing something that you love, I'm not saying they should go for it. I'm not saying that I think that's the best thing. It could be very dangerous, because if you give kids money who have never had money like that before, they can also fall into other traps. But at the same time, we have to understand that if there's not really any alternatives for them, it's very alluring for them to go for that money. Right now, the better thing is they get the money, but then they have a life coach or a mentor or someone who's like a leader to them, who tells them what to do with that money and what to do with their life and things of that nature. So that's what I think.
Yeah, definitely the financial, aspect of it, being financially responsible. I mean, we even see NBA players who have made hundreds of millions of dollars in their career. An Antoine Walker, a Vin Baker, Latrell Sprewell, and they didn't manage the money properly. They didn't invest their money properly. They probably had the wrong people around them. They had an entourage that was way too big, their eyes were bigger than their belly. You know what I'm saying? If you want to say, and those things happen. But, as I was telling my son is 16 and a half, and he plays, he's about 6'4", and I said, you think about it. I said, the NBA, it only consists of 30 teams, and there are only 15 slots on each team. And how many of those slots become available every year? I said, it's better for someone to go to college and to get their degree or go to a trade school, like you said. So they have this, and a real outlook on life, because it's like trying to win the lottery, you know what I'm saying, in a sense, to make it into the NBA. I mean, because the league is, I think basketball has become such a global sport now. There's so many opportunities, and you just see, like, with the G League, and they say, hey man, we got to start recruiting our own. Even with this overtime league, they say, hey, we need a farming system, like how baseball does for these kids. These kids are graduating high school, they get right into a farming system. 2-3 years, they make it to the major leagues. But with basketball, it's like America's like, man, we got to catch up to Europe. Europe has been doing this sort of thing where these guys, Luka, Joker, and other players like that, even back in the day, Tony Parker, you know what I'm saying?
With the Italian.
Exactly. They became professionals at an early age. But it's like the times in what we're living, This is the thing. It's this microwave society where these kids, they just want to put the popcorn in, and 2 minutes later, hey, it's done. And I mean, they see their own peers making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing absolutely nothing, making someone laugh. You know what I'm saying? They're not teaching anybody anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's an entirely different day and age, with technology. And through social media, people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And these are people who are young people, a TikToker, a YouTuber, or, they're influencers now, and they're getting sponsorship and all of this, and then you circle back around, they say, hey, we have a market for the younger people for ball, you know, it's like, we're going to make the NCAA take a hit, because they're not going to pay them anyways. They're going to sell all their merchandise, they're going to benefit, from the university is going to benefit, from all the money that they're going to make if they go to the tournament and things of this nature. It was just just when I was coming up, it was like, to be able to go to college and play for a team in college, the whole experience of the college experience, it was entirely different. You were trying to go to a good school, make it to the dance, play on national television, that sort of thing. And then now it's an entirely different mindset.
You're already on national television because you have your own social media account.
Exactly. You're branding yourself, and yeah, it's more capital driven, no doubt.
It's funny that when you mentioned the influencer thing, like there's actual job ads now, right, where companies are looking for influencers. Like there's an entire job market now based on how influential you can be online or social media, and you can make money that way. So it's very interesting. Go back to your career, man. Talk to us. We just have like a free flowing conversation. I know we brought up LeVar Ball last week, but we won't go into that right now. But talk to us about your own career. I mean, you mentioned something earlier before we jumped on live, which was, you got interested in like second or third grade, and then that passion lasted for quite some time. So what motivated you to play ball, and how did you approach playing basketball as a young kid?
I had to thank probably my father. He was really involved, with pushing me and my other siblings. I have a younger brother and I have an older sister. My sister ran track. My brother played, tennis, and he was good at tennis. And I stuck to basketball, but I played football and baseball and, and tennis. And so he was involved as a coach as well. If he wasn't pushing me, he was involved as a coach. And so just a natural, liking for it. And just from second grade YMCA playing ball, in middle school, got to high school. And I just, like I said, it was more, I had the natural athleticism that I didn't really have to work on the game. It just came natural. The instinct came natural. And I played the point, my whole career. And so, like I said, my senior year, where I went to school, I'm from Denver. I went to high school in Aurora, Colorado. So, Colorado is not really known for producing these top players. Chauncey Billups is from Colorado. Reggie Jackson that plays in the league now is from Colorado. So I was really kind of underrated, my whole career, my high school career. And so I always kind of had this kind of like internal chip on my shoulder and just trying to, prove folks wrong. And then just got the respect because, there was a lot of, back then, the Denver public school system, there was a lot of African Americans that played in that system, and then went to those high schools. And so our high school was in suburbia, Aurora, and it was predominantly white. And so we took the school higher than it had ever gone before. So we were runners up for the state championship. Like I said, I got recruited by a number of schools. I thought I was going to go to Oklahoma State at first. This was when Leonard Hamilton was there before he went to Miami. And then Eddie Sutton came in. And so when he came in, he brought his own crew in. And then, my scholarship hopes there were kind of like gone because he wasn't recruiting me initially. And so after the state championship game, Radford University reached out. This coach, I don't know if you heard, this coach's name is Oliver Purnell. He coached there. He coached at Old Dominion. He coached at Clemson, coached at Dayton. He's retired now. He's like in his late 60s, I believe now. But African American coach. He recruited me. I went out there and I loved it. I wanted to be in the East Coast, and I loved it. And so it was a small D1, and I got to see the world because of that. I got to travel to New York. We played Iona. We played Brooklyn College. We played VMI my freshman year. We played Virginia. I played, when John Crotty was there, and who else was his backcourt partner? He ended up making it to the league too. Played for the Nuggets. Brian Stith. These guys were seniors when I was a freshman, so we played at UVA. And so, it was great, man. It was a great experience. And like I said, my head coach, he ended up, after that season, we were 22-7, I believe. We just missed making the NCAA tournament because we had to win our conference outright, which was the Big South, and we didn't win the conference championship. So we didn't make the NCAA, but he ended up leaving and going to Old Dominion. And so because of that kind of didn't really sit with me well. And then I ended up transferring because of that, because the coach that came in, I didn't think that I was going to continue getting, the playing time and everything. And I played quite a bit as a freshman. I played about, 10 games or so. And it was like, as a guy coming in and not a whole bunch of notoriety coming out of high school, but I ended up going to a JC in Kansas. And then I ended up getting another scholarship to University of North Florida. And so that was the inaugural season for that program. That was in '92.
Let me interrupt you real quick. So now you're in college. You're going. You said you had that internal chip because you were from Denver, and not many guys come out of Denver. It's funny, or from you said Aurora City.
Aurora. Yeah.
I'm going to bring up the Chauncey Billups thing later because it's relevant. But
yeah,
who were some of the guys, professional players, you would follow while you were in college, and guys you were trying to emulate, or guys that you wanted to like copy their style or take things from?
I would say coming. I honestly I liked Kevin Johnson's game for Phoenix. Underrated type of point guard, could fill it up if need be. I think for his career, he averaged about 18 and almost 10 assists, like a steal and a half. So he had like a kind of a polished game. You know what I'm saying?
Good leader
I liked his game. Yeah, good floor leader. You know what I'm saying? And I prided myself to be a pretty good floor leader, to put people in position so they could be successful. To be a real coach on the floor. That's kind of I pride myself in. Let me see. Back then, man, of course, Isaiah. Isaiah was a killer. Who else, man? I love Rod Strickland's game. Who else? Who was the same age? Like Kenny Anderson. He was nice, back in the day.
I know Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny could go. Trying to think, man, because I'm not that tall. I'm about 6 foot. I'm 6 foot. I had bounce. Like I said, I probably much relied more on the athleticism. And then really work on my game like that, because I could handle the ball, I could get you, I could get by you, I could get up, I could yoke it and everything, 2 hands, all that stuff. But it's like working on the shot. I had the mid-range game. I didn't really have that 3 game back then. You know what I'm saying? I was drive and pull up type of guy. You know what I mean? But back then that was like, I'm same age as like Grant Hill. So right. we were both class of '90. You know what I mean? Right. But
being from Denver,
yeah.
Kamal Bailey?
I don't know Kamal Bailey. No. Kamal Bailey? How old is Kamal?
Kamal would probably be, how old are you?
I'm be 49.
Yes, so Kamal Bailey, no, he's before, he's after you.
Okay.
And he's
okay.
He's from Denver.
There was another guy that went to my school named Eddie Gill. He went to Overland High School. He ended up playing in the league. Yeah, he went to Weber State. Yeah, he was a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought this dude was like,
Chicago, right?
yeah, Kendall Gill's from Chicago, but this dude, Eddie Gill, he was about my height and he was about 5 years younger than me. Oh man, I never thought he was going to make it to the league, because we used to play pickup ball all the time. He was skinny, scrawny kind of dude, but as he went into college and he started to develop his game, it was nice to see that, he stuck with it, because it's just, the league, man, to do something professionally, you know what I'm saying? To play ball professionally, man, you got to have a real unconditional love for it. I mean,
Absolutely.
you got to just love it to death, and do whatever it takes, you know what I'm saying? So, but those are some of the players, man, you know what I'm saying, that, I looked at, I was just like, same stature and everything. I was like, yeah, try to have that type of floor leadership and just to put people in position. But if I could score, I would score. I was really, really unselfish, you know what I'm saying, when it came to it.
The reason I brought up Chauncey, you brought up Chauncey, but the reason I stopped you is because so we're coaching these guys over here, and you and I were talking about that earlier today. So we have some quick guards on the team, fast guards. They need some refinement. They're not very polished. Some of them don't use their left hand. Some of them, when they use their speed a little bit too much, but they don't have that body control where they'll get past their defenders. Nobody utilizes a jump stop. Nobody knows how to change gears, where start off fast, slow down, and then blow by the defender again. So I was actually talking to them about Chauncey Billups, because Chauncey was not the fastest point guard. He was not the quickest point guard. He's about 6'3". He was a decent-sized point guard, very strong. But Chauncey was such a smart player. He had so much poise, such a great floor leader. So I was actually what I'm doing now on my channels is I'm taking clips of different players. So I just released the video last week. I don't know if you saw it, about like big man defense, how to guard bigs. So I'll send it to you, but it's like 3 ways to guard bigs, and I highlight like different players. So I'm actually making a video for them of Chauncey, just to show them how much, bro, even when he was in Denver, right? He was older. And I remember when they traded him for Allen Iverson, like there were people saying like, okay, Denver didn't get anything out of the deal. And then you saw what he was able to do even for the Nuggets. They had Kenny Martin, they had J.R. Smith, they had Nene, they had Carmelo Anthony.
They went to the Western Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying?
Chauncey was still killing, man. Chauncey was still killing.
He was killing, man. I mean, the Lakers beat him in like 6, I think. And really, it could have went either way, because that first game, I remember that series. That first game, the Nuggets really had that game, and they lost it in LA. You know what I'm saying? And that could have been changed the whole series. But Chauncey, man, I'm 5 years older than Chauncey. So I saw him come up, you know what I'm saying? And you were like, him as a freshman in high school, you're like, this dude is going to be special. You know what I'm saying? Because he was killing as a freshman. We used to play pickup ball. There was a very famous park we used to play at in Colorado, in Aurora. It's called a Utah Park. Everybody used to go up there, all the cats that could really ball, and then, guys that were in college would come back, and even the old timers. And this is outdoors, like Colorado is beautiful in the summer, and everybody would play ball outside. You know what I mean? And so Chauncey, man, you saw his freshman year, sophomore year, and, he made the right decision by going to Colorado. He was like, I'm going to keep it local, and I'm just going to blow up Colorado. And that's basically what he did. And he increased his stock. You know what I'm saying? And so the thing is, when he came into the league, it was like they didn't know if he was a point guard, is he a shooting guard? And then he got kind of like lost in the shuffle. That's why he got traded so many. I mean, he was traded. He was like the 3rd pick or something like that for Boston. And he wasn't, he was, and it's like, and it was like he said, not until he went to Minnesota and he got like that tutelage from I think it was who was the point guard there? Terrell. What was that cat's name?
What team did you say?
With Minnesota, the Timberwolves.
What year are we talking about?
Terrell Brandon.
Like maybe Terrell Brandon. It was Terrell Brandon, who had been a professional longer than him, that really taught him the ropes and to be a professional and to play that position. And I think Terrell Brandon got hurt. So that gave Chauncey an opportunity to really show. And then I think that's where he got his footing. And then after that, that's when he went to Detroit. And then that's when he just, Mr. Big Shot. But he is always like that. You know, he had always been like that for his whole high school career, college career. He was like that. You know, he was always be able to knock down the shot when needed. He had the handle. He had the poise. He was a good floor leader, you know, and he had the IQ. But I think as he got older, it just got more refined. You know what I'm saying?
I think if you want to keep it real, Chauncey really made Rip Hamilton's career.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah.
Coming off those screens, he was hitting them on a dime. Boom.
Exactly.
People don't realize that.
Yeah.
You know, like Jason Kidd with Kenyon Martin and Richard
Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now. Without Jason Kidd, come on now.
Yeah.
He was just, you know, so and remember the LA brothers, remember I thought he had so much promise. The one who used to go
Who's
like
that?
this.
Oh yeah. They have their
Miles.
podcast. They have their own podcast.
Darius Miles and Corey Richardson. Quentin Richardson.
Yeah.
Quentin Richardson.
I thought Darius Miles was going to go further than he went though.
Yeah, he had a lot of promise. He had a lot of promise.
Man.
Well, so there's a lot of guys like that, man.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if you can really go, man, you know what I'm saying? Then you're gonna really shine. You know what I'm saying? If you can really, because it's the consistency, you know what I'm saying? Through thick and thin, consistent, you know what I mean? Right. And there's only so many players that, you know, consistently year in, year out, game in, game out, you can count on them cats. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then now, you know, the whole game is all this positionless type of, you know what I'm saying? There really isn't it's not like back in the day, like where you had true point guard, you know, like a Jason Kidd or, you know, Isaiah Magic, you know, these cats where they were real floor leaders. I mean, you see now, like with James Harden, man, James Harden is actually taking a back seat. You know what I'm saying? So that team can really prevail. You know what I mean? Because he's like, I'll be the floor leader, you know, because Kyrie is not a distributor, you know, Durant is not a distributor like that. But Harden's showing you like, man, I'm a real polished all around type of player. You know what I'm saying?
As soon as they made that trade, I said Harden should go to the one.
And he did, man, and you just see the beauty of it. You know, you see it's like, whew, he's able to find guys, you know, and that's showing his IQ too, man. You know what I'm saying? It really is. You know what I mean? Because it's not like he grew up playing the point. You know.
Nope. But that's going to open up his game more because he likes to drive, he likes to dish. So it's really pick your poison.
I know, man. They're going to be.
He's do the floater. If he wants to do I would not change that at all.
They're going to be tough. Yeah.
Didn't they just pick up Blake Griffin?
Yeah.
They just picked up Blake Griffin. You know.
I see a lot of people.
Did LaMarcus Aldridge go there yet?
Say again.
LaMarcus Aldridge.
No, you know, I'm looking at all the Spurs like rumors. The players are talking like they're like, oh, you know, he deserves his respect. He deserves his tribute. And I'm like, man, did he get traded? But it seems like it's on the horizon.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I would like to see him go back to Portland, honestly. I would just like to see him go back to Portland, just kind of finish up in Portland, be with Dame, and, you know, and if they can get McCollum back, and, you know, because if they could ever get healthy, man, and Nurkic, I mean, if they could ever just get healthy, man, Portland's got a nice squad, man.
They do, but that ain't going to help them win.
I know.
He needs to go to Brooklyn so that's solidifying the chip right there.
They said Miami has interest.
Yeah, they said and the Lakers too. They said the Lakers too.
Well, the Lakers are stuck on Drummond. They want Drummond.
I like Drummond.
If they get Drummond, they got a rim protector. You know what I'm saying? That's they. You know, I mean.
But LaMarcus is nice, man. But this year you saw like a steep drop off in production, right?
Yeah, you did.
Until last year, he was very consistent. And I'm
not an all-star. You know what I'm saying? He was an all-star. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, brother. Really? I mean. One of the most, low key, one of the most consistent players in his career, right? In terms of the value he would bring you. And, you know, there's a funny thing because I did a whole 1 hour video on why the Spurs are like the best team, the best organization in sports. I did this like 2 years ago. So there's a portion where Popovich is talking to, I don't know if you remember this, but 1 year, I think 2 years or 1.5 years after LaMarcus was there, he asked for a trade. He asked for a trade very professionally. And Popovich basically called him into the office and said, like, what's going on? And LaMarcus said, you know, like, you guys are not using me the way, like, I'm used to playing this and that. So Popovich owned up to it and said, you know what? Like, I took a guy who was already high caliber and I tried to impose my style on him where I should have actually built the system around him. So, and then you saw, like, once Pop kind of changed his mind about LaMarcus actually started striving on in the Spurs system a lot more efficiently and better. So I appreciate, as a Spurs fan, man, I appreciate what LaMarcus brought, and I still think if Zaza Pachulia didn't injure Kawhi Leonard that year, man, I think that Spurs team, 67 wins, bro, 67 wins in a season where the Spurs are still resting players. So if they're not resting players, they could have 70, 72, 73 wins. So I think that year the Spurs were going to win, man. So anyways, you know, best to the Spurs and best to LaMarcus Aldridge.
He's 34 now, man. So it's like, you know, he's just, you know, he's in the twilight, you know. So it's like, you know, you don't have too much more time, you know, to try to get the chip. You know what I'm saying? So you know,
I think he's older than that. Let me check, man. He's 35.
He's 35. Okay,
he's turning 5.
Wow.
Turning 36 in July.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You know what, man? I wanted to say, you know, in regards to this overtime league, okay, and them looking at this market of high school students, you know, high school players that they feel, because they're going to get elite high school players, you know, the 16 to 18, not everybody's going to make that league, you know, only people they projecting to, you know, potentially play in the league or play overseas or something like this, you know. You think about people who have made that jump from high school to the NBA. And there's only been one, and I'm sure we will all agree, that has just from the start hasn't shown any signs of, you know, I needed a year or 2 years to fit in, which is LeBron.
Oh, LeBron.
LeBron.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
The LeBron coming in, man. This dude's 6'8", 235 pounds or something as an 18-year-old, almost 19-year-old. And he established himself from the jump. When you look at Kobe, it took him some years. You look at KG, it took him some years. You look at Jermaine O'Neal, it took him some years. Tyson Chandler, it took LeBron. He just came in from the jump, man. And then what's so amazing about his story is all the pressure on that man.
Yeah.
At that age to perform, because I think there was an interview with Bob Costas, and he was like, you know, if you come in and you're not successful, you know, you've been on the cover of Sports Illustrated, they're talking about you're the next thing coming and this and that, and you're the chosen one. You know, if you don't come in and you succeed, you're going to be a flop. You're going to be a failure. And LeBron has always said the same thing. Hey, you know, I just take it one day at a time.
Yep.
You know, just want to get better one day at a time. The dude has had the same talk for like 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Yep. I'm take it one day at a time, and you know, and just
his production is so amazing, man.
The dude takes care of himself, man.
Yeah.
I just saw him. They were interviewing him just about coming back in this second part of the season, and he was like, you know, it's time to go now. And he's like, they were like, well, what about your body? You know, how about your body? He said, I haven't been the same since my rookie year. Because he said you get nicks and bumps and bruises and everything. And he said you're never 100%. But he said as long as my mind is 100%. He said I've gotten through games because of my IQ. You know? So that's the thing. And it goes to, like you said, those kids that you're coaching. It's the IQ, man. It's like the ones that really excel when they're younger, they have the IQ and the game slows down for them. And they can see the game and see things happen before they actually happen. You know, like they can know, I got to do a jump stop. I got to slow. I got to accelerate. I can see the man, you know, cutting before he cuts. I know he's going to go back door. I know what, you know. Those are the ones that tend to, you know what I'm saying? And then they have to have the network of coaches. They got to have somebody that really like empowers them and, you know what I'm saying? And believes in them, you know, that really believes in them. Because I was just telling my son this, like I said, you think of Caruso's journey. Caruso was a 4-year player at Texas Tech. He was undrafted. He made the summer league team for the Lakers. He was in the G League. He made the second year summer league team. He was on a 10-day contract. He was on another 10-day. Then he was a two-way. Now this dude is a rotational player. Now he's an important part of but that's what now. He's been in the league. I think this is his 5th year. 4th or 5th year.
Money.
Exactly. But I was like, the perseverance, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, that's what it takes, man.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's what it takes, you know. And then people believing in you know what I'm saying? Confidence will do a world of great for somebody. You know what I'm saying? No matter what it is. It doesn't have to be sports, but you know, in life in general. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I learned about the NBA too? Like a player like Caruso, which is a great example.
Hey.
The NBA watches your perseverance as well. You know, some players, again, we everyone's financial status is different.
True.
Some players, the first year they get cut from the G League, the first year they get cut, overseas is offering them money that they could, you know, live.
Yeah.
So they
exactly.
go. And then once they go, when I was coming up, NBA teams was buying out overseas contracts. They're not doing that anymore when they have the G League. If a guy is overseas, he has to. In my opinion, if he's that good overseas, he'll be in the league.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
He'll be in the league. So are they going to spend money to buy him out of his overseas contract if he want him that bad? But also, it depends on the need of the team, though.
That's right.
You know, if you get a guy like Dirk, a 7-footer who could shoot, who could stretch the floor, you might want to spend a little money to grab somebody like that, you know?
True.
Or Sabonis or Luka, if you will. Because didn't Luka play over a professional ball before he got in the NBA?
In Spain.
He did.
Wasn't it in Spain?
Yeah. I'm not sure what league, but he turned professional. He was like 16 or 17. And I think he was like the MVP over there at that young of an age, you know, one season. So that's why, you know, Dallas was like, oh, this dude,
they bought him
he's handling it over there. We have to bring him into the league, you know. You know, he's going to do work if he's doing work at that young of an age, you know, over there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Coach D, where I just want to ask real quick. Coach D, where are you from, man?
I'm from New York.
I figure you had to be from New York. That accent, brother. New York's finest.
New York, baby.
Yeah, no doubt. What borough in New York?
I'm from Harlem.
Harlem World. Okay.
I coached at Rucker Park for 15 years, man.
Okay.
I done had them all. I done seen it all. That's why when you mention that stuff, it's dear to my heart because I done seen these players who were just that good at Rucker that just didn't make it, that just, you know, had the talent, you know?
Yep. One slip here, one slip there, brother. They a Rucker Park legend, but it's like they could have been into the league, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If it wasn't one slipper here, or, you know, bad influence, whatever the case may be. Yeah, no doubt, man.
And I used to always try to motivate the players. Like when an NBA player that's signed, sealed, and delivered acknowledges you, because you know they got their little chip on their shoulders. You know you're a baller.
Yeah.
You know, like he's almost like he got a pass for making it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they give you them props, no doubt. Yeah.
They'll stop what they're doing. I remember we used to go down with this guy called Adrian Walton. And we used to go down to Knicks games. And he was known. He played against everybody. And Steph was on the Knicks, Stephon Marbury.
Yeah.
Stephon Marbury would be on a layup line. See A-Butter? Stop what he's doing and give him 5. And I'd be like, you see?
That's respect, man.
I would tell you, but you see? Everyone else yelling his name. Steph. As soon as you see him, it's the respect. You know, ballers, no ballers.
True. Indeed.
Ballers, no ballers. You know?
Indeed.
Stop what you're doing. Get off the, what's up, man? How you doing, man? Everything all right? You know? And it's like, nice. Wow. I would just be in amazement by saying, wow. Stephon Marbury, what are you doing, man? You know? You know? But they played on the same team for Fat Joe at Rucker against us and all that. So
gotcha.
That backcourt was crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was, man. Because Steph was a beast, man. He was a beast, man. Before, you know what I'm saying, certain things happened, and you know what I'm saying, and he ended up going over to China, and he still, you know what I'm saying, still did his thing over there in China.
Back to the United States.
I saw a documentary on that he put out. You know,
awesome documentary.
I think it was on Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah. That was nice, man. I did not know that about his siblings, and you know, and how he was like, Brad, you have to make it. You have to be the one to make it. You know, and all that pressure on him, man. Yeah, man, that was great, man. And just the brothers are still choked up. They still get choked up. You know what I'm saying?
I was
Until
getting
today.
choked up with him.
Nice,
you like
man.
to hear those stories, man. When he
Yeah.
that's like one of my favorite pictures and videos when they call his name and he's crying.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, man.
And
Yeah,
Steph is
when he got
crying. And
drafted,
it's like,
man. Yeah.
he was like, we waited a long time, all these years. It's like you want to cry with him because that was coming straight from forget the money, forget everything else. That came straight from the heart. And I was like, oh my God, that was dear to me when I seen him. I remember that.
That's just a love for the game, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is what the love for the game will do. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's a true love for the game. No doubt. No doubt.
That's why those documentaries are important, because it sheds light on this figure you see only once in a while on media, and sometimes the media portrays him as crazy or eccentric or whatever. But now you see the pressure, you see the background, you see the history, you see the older siblings, younger siblings, maybe no parents in the house, fights on the I mean, it's interesting, man. When I saw that documentary, I had a whole new respect for Stephon Marbury, man. And then
me too, man.
End, do you remember the end clip when he's in the barbershop?
In the barbershop, with the little kid, and it's like, you're getting that cut, you're getting that Marbury. You know, you got that Marbury because he had the little part. I think he got it, something like that. The little kid, yeah, man. I had an entirely different respect for Marbury, and just saw him in a different light, after that documentary, because I did not know his the backdrop. I really didn't. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was good, man.
Mike Tyson is not about basketball. Mike Tyson's at that level too. If you study Mike Tyson and his childhood and being bullied and all the different things that he got, went through, being used by promoters and whatnot. So and that's why Mike Tyson, he's like a raw dude, man. Like when he talks, like you could tell he doesn't care who's listening, what people are gonna. But that's the best. But that's the best people to be around, man. Because he's giving you. We say in Arabic, "Haq." He's giving you the truth. He's just letting you know how it is, man.
Exactly.
That's the best. That's the best to me. That's the best people to be around, because it's like what you see is what you get.
So Coach, I think Mustafa, because it's Maghrib time. Coach, me and Mustafa probably have to go pray. It's one of the prayers of the day. But I'm just gonna leave it off with this thing, so we'll wrap up with this for like 2 minutes. I wanted to bring this clip on the screen. And I found this a few days ago, which was really nice. It's something that we already know as basketball fans, but it was good to see it in chart form. Okay. But it says the game from 2001 to 2002 and the game in 2019 to 2020 and how the game has changed, right? On the left, you got, 3-pointers, inside, mid-range, baseline. And then if you look at the game last year, it's all 3-pointers and probably, some layups and some cuts and stuff like that. But you see the mid-range, there's absolutely nothing. So, just want your thoughts on that.
I mean, it's unfortunate, man, because kids are trying to emulate the. I mean, I would say the Steph, the Damon, and and it's like you need this mid-range game to have a complete game. You have to have this pull-up to have a complete. You got to be able to get to the cup. And then to stretch it out, because so the person will play you honest. Because if they only know you're gonna shoot threes, they're not gonna play you honest. You look at Kyrie. Kyrie is like, he'll drop the 3 in your throat. He'll go to the cup on you with the left, with the right. He'll pull up on you. I mean, and that's a complete package. I mean, when you got big men that, for instance, Blake Griffin. He doesn't even bang anymore, man. He's a pop. He's a pop out, mid to 3-point shooter now. They said he hasn't dunked in like 2 years or something like this. You know what I'm saying? You can't
call someone a big man if he lets small forwards guard him, man. That's my rule.
Simple as that.
If you let a small forward guard you, I mean, me and Coach Dee talk about this all the time. Just imagine, the guys when they do pick and roll, screen and roll, and then there's a switch. And you got a small forward guarding these 6'10", 7-footers. Imagine if that was Yao Ming or Shaq or David Robinson or Tim Duncan or Hakeem Olajuwon or Patrick Ewing or Karl Malone, any of these guys, bro. Even Charles Barkley.
Punish them, man.
That's why Shaq calls it barbecue chicken.
That's right. I was gonna say that barbecue chicken, baby. That's it.
Right. And that's why I respect Shaq's word, because that's why he gets mad at the Dwight Howards and the big guys who don't dominate, because he's like, if you that big. And you should not allow a 6'5" guy to guard you.
Exactly. You know, and that is why, you know, he is loving Embiid's game now, because Embiid is really playing like a big man. He
Yes,
can
he
stretch
is.
you out. He's got the touch and everything.
Yep.
It's like him and Joker. These
Yep.
two cats, man, whew,
Mhm.
they're about
Mhm.
impossible to guard, man. You know what I'm saying? When their
Mhm.
game is on, they're about impossible to guard, man.
Mhm.
7-footers, can shoot the three, can handle the ball, can shoot the mid
Great
range, can bang
passers.
you. Great passers. Yes, I mean, it's rare to find people like that in the league now. It's
Yeah, it
really,
is.
really, really
It
rare.
is.
You know,
And
it's really
Embiid,
rare.
Embiid has to do it for longer than half a season. That's the only
That's
argument
the
I would
thing.
say.
Right, right.
Yeah, Joel has
That's
to
the
do
only
it
way
for
they're
them.
gonna make it. That's the only
Yeah.
way
That's
that
the only
they're,
way
they're gonna make it.
Yep.
That's the only way they're gonna make it, man. You know.
So
no doubt.
we'll call it a day here, gentlemen. I know we both got to go. So Coach D, as always,
Appreciate
my
it.
co-host, and our guest today, Mustafa Horton, ladies and gentlemen, former Division I point guard, basketball enthusiast. Hopefully we can have you on again, Mustafa, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, definitely. I would love it, man. You know, nice meeting you, Coach D, Harlem world, Harlem's finest. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
And yeah, anytime, man. Anytime.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Walaway
it.
listeners, stay tuned. We're going to be live every Friday. We're having some more special guests coming your way, some special programs. And thank you guys for watching. Like and share and subscribe. And we'll see you all next time.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.